one of the biggest problems when you want to delete social media, but this thing kind of puts it off from doing so, is the idea of feeling lonely, because you're currently you feel like you're going to be cut off from all connections, from basically a virtual society. And when you're cut off from something that significant or big in your mind, suddenly you just feel like, oh, then what do I do now? Who do I talk to? I have to be by myself, which is quite, to be honest, that thought alone is already quite sad, because I feel like, at least from my experience, when I was on social media a year and a half ago, it did feel like the relationship between me and social media was more that I actually did depend on it, that a lot of my day-to-day habits, a lot of my day-to-day thoughts were all structured around the use of social media, and I didn't even realize, really. And what I mean by that is that the first thing when I would normally wake up, I would just, without even realizing, just consciously look at my phone, or even when my alarm is on my phone, I would stop my alarm and then use that opportunity to go on Instagram or Snapchat or TikTok or whatever, and then I didn't even realize at that point. So already, first thing I do when I wake up, I'm there, and then I'm into this cycle of scrolling, and I don't even realize when to stop, and time goes by. So, and then obviously throughout the day, it's just, you just pick your phone up and you're back on it. And as soon as you whenever something that significant is in your life for a long period of time, and if it just goes away, there is a void that you feel, because, let's be honest, it's an attachment. You're definitely attached to social media, and when an attachment that strong is taken away, then you do feel the impact of it. So how do you really not feel lonely? And honestly, from my experience, it's pretty clear that there is a way. And first of all, like I mentioned, you need to understand, why do you feel lonely in the first place? Is it because did you spend a lot of time or a lot of hours on social media and that void has suddenly gone? Or is it some other thing? Most likely or not, it is just the whole attachment to something being taken away that you feel that loneliness. And yes, of course, there are smaller factors, like, for example, oh man, but I only speak to my friends on Snapchat and now I can't speak to them. I mean, you can speak to them, definitely, because just ask for their number or meet up with them, hang out with them. So it's not really a matter of you can't do it, it's more of a matter of convenience. And because social media is so convenient, you just send someone a snap and all of a sudden it's like a form of communication. But I think more importantly, it's not the form of communication that matters, it's the quality of communication. Because I used to do this a lot, and I used to get this a lot, where the only form of me communicating with someone would be just, if it was Instagram, it would be just by sending memes. It'd be just by sending memes, or if it was through Snapchat, it would be the most pointless Snapchats. It would just be me quickly take a picture, or I receive a picture, and literally there would be 3 letters on the word, and that's like HRU, and then the conversation would be like, I'm good, how about you, what have you been doing, says what they've been doing, or I've said what I'm doing. That's great, end of conversation. And I just think it's that dependency of not wanting to be alone that everyone is scared of, or at least the feeling of not wanting to be alone is just, for some reason, terrifying. So realistically, the problem here lies from not wanting to be alone. And how when you delete social media, and if you've taken the opportunity, whether it to delete it just for a short term, just to kind of detox, or whether it to be maybe a long term, maybe it's been a couple of months since you've deleted it, or a couple of weeks since you've deleted it, and you're really liking the way things are going, but you do feel like, listen, like, I'm kind of lonely, like, what do I do? That's because you haven't filled in that void that was originally taken away. When you've got something as significant as social media, when that takes up a huge part of your life, and you didn't even realize that it did take up a huge part of your life, and suddenly that disappears, then it does leave you with like you're missing something. You're missing a piece. Now this is the opportunity to fill that piece, to put that last puzzle piece into the whole picture by introducing a new habit, or a new hobby, or a new thing, or a new part of your lifestyle. Now, I like to use the word habit because it reinforces an action, or reinforces something. So making sure that's a positive habit, you can only benefit from that, right? So, for example, let's say you don't go to the gym, or you barely go to the gym, or you've never really gone to the gym. You suddenly delete social media. You've got this void that you can fill now. So you introduce working out, or starting a new sport that you've never started before, or finding the time now to use that opportunity to carry on, or to push on a specific sport. And say you do go to the gym, and now you've got an opportunity here to be consistent at going to the gym. And once you're consistent going to the gym, that becomes your new attachment. And trust me, it's a much healthier attachment than just scrolling mindlessly on social media. Now, I've just used gym as an example here, but it doesn't have to be anything like sports related or gym related. It can, for me personally, it was using this time now that I've got and applying it into learning about video editing, into learning about how I can create my videos and how I can be better at, content creation. Especially I'm talking this for my main channel. So like I've been every single week I'm trying to learn like new aspects of video editing and storytelling. There's so much, and it's now become the single most biggest thing in my life at the moment, where I do spend a lot of my hours every single week simply creating videos. So, and because of that, I just feel so good. Like, I just, genuinely speaking, I don't miss social media. Like, I'm not saying this because there's a camera here. I'm being dead serious. It's because I don't miss social media at all. And a lot of people have asked me, like, when would you be back on, or are you thinking of going back on? I don't know. I genuinely don't know, because right now I love the way things are going, and it's been probably more than 20 months without social media consecutively. I've not had days where I'm like, oh, let me just download it. I've genuinely permanently deleted everything, and it's been more than 20 months, and I love it. And I just genuinely think like the reason for not feeling lonely is because I've allocated the time, and you can do the same thing to something else. And once you've allocated that time, you've become completely immersed in that hobby, that craft, that skill, whatever. It can be reading, it can be going to the gym, it can be video editing, it can be starting a new sport, it can be starting a side hustle, starting a business. It genuinely can be anything that you like or that you're passionate about, or at least something that you're willing to give a go at. And then once you start being so immersed in it, you just realize like, wow, like there's genuinely so much that kind of brings me happiness, or something external which is not social media, because I feel like social media just brings you temporary doses of dopamine, temporary hits of happiness, because you're scrolling, you see something and it's gone. You just kind of repeat. Whereas when it's like a long-term project, you see yourself, your skill developing, you see yourself being kind of getting better at that skill. Like each week, I know, like even though I'm far off my goal, I know that I'm making progress towards that, and I'm slowly getting better. And that personally brings me validation. That makes me happy, because I know I'm progressing, and it just feels good to be achieving something. And now, if I feel like, oh man, I don't speak to like my friends every single day, because I don't send them memes, or I don't receive these memes every day and have these, I don't know, 2 exchanges as a way of communicating, or like 30-second conversations of basically talking about nothing. Now, I genuinely would call them, or they would call me, or we'd definitely meet up more. I felt like I've actually met up more with my friends and had a way more deeper and more personal connection, but also like just communicating with them, than I did do before. Maybe, and I don't directly relate that to deleting social media, but I think deleting social media has allowed me to be more aware of this, and actually take action. So it's kind of had a chain reaction. It's raining right now, and I'm not gonna lie, like even though I don't want to be out in the rain, it just feels nice to have that kind of ambience. But yeah, that's what I wanted to say. Like, I think initially, when you don't have social media, maybe for the first month or a couple of months, you're like, what now? Like, what do I do now? Like, I can't send my friends memes. I feel like, am I missing out? Believe me, you're not missing out, like, at all. What you do now here is you pick something or a few things that you feel like that you're most aligned with, that you're most passionate about, or something that you just want to give a go. And you try it, and you spend your time on it, and it's like, I know I'm using going to the gym as an example here, but it is like going to the gym. Like, when you first go, you're not going to expect to have an insane physique. You're not going to be able to like hit your goal weight. But then as the weeks go by and as the months go by, you're going to see yourself getting stronger, being able to lift more weight, put on more weight, or lose more weight, or whatever your goal is. You're going to be able to see that progress. And it's the same thing with developing a skill and developing a habit. You're going to be able to see that change for yourself when you do it. But yeah, I just wanted to say that's how you basically not feel like you're alone when you don't have social media. It's to find something, fill that void. And anyone can do it. Honestly, anyone can do it. All it takes is just some conscious effort and some perseverance. Give it a couple of months, give it a couple of weeks. But once you get the ball rolling, it will just definitely change your whole perspective, and hopefully it will change your life. But yeah, I just wanted to share that. obviously, if there's any specific kind of questions that you might feel like you want to ask, feel free to drop a comment. I really do love just driving, making these videos, really just laid back and casual. So also it would probably help me if you leave a like or even a comment, but yeah, even if you don't, it's chill. But I'll see you next time.